Check this out. Is that a pup off of that Phalaenopsis orchid? There's like a leaf coming up on the old flower stalk there. So this is a bucket of those failed attempted grafts on some grapefruits and stuff we did. So you can see the old graft tape there, pieces. Looked almost like a couple of them calloused over, and they really still had a grip on the scion wood, but maybe the scion wood above that just dried out after that. I know like bud grafting or whatever is the most popular method to do citrus, but I'm not comfortable with doing that graft. I haven't had anybody teach me. I think I've tried it once or twice and I really screwed it up. And if we are successful with the loquat grafts where we did like the wrapping of the whole graft, tip and all, then I think we're going to try it here with the citrus as well. Just doing the cleft grafts and stuff. Maybe they're just drying out before they have a good chance to take. And even on some of the Reddit and other forums, people talk about, they have a better success rate in general with grafting when you wrap it with paraffin. I don't have paraffin, but buddy tape should work very similarly. It just, some of the buds may not be able to push out and push through buddy tape, so you stretch it, I guess pre-stretch it to make it a little bit weaker. And if you have to, you cut a slit, where the buds are trying to push out so that they'll come through the little slits, and see how it goes. More dryer lint, and for the birdies, obviously. And it's the next morning again. What I've noticed on this Barbados cherry is that it's been blooming off and on for months and months and months, but after that first initial fruit, none of these blooms are turning into fruit. Maybe that's just a sign of like fall weather here in north central Florida. Just they know not to produce. I don't know. Or is there a certain type of insect that pollinates them? And maybe those insects aren't here when we're getting like, 40s, 50s Fahrenheit. So we've been talking a little bit about, in a few videos back, the loquat leaves that we transplanted just by plucking the roots out of the ground and putting them in, that they're drooping, and some of them look like they're going to lose their leaves. But all of them were drooping. Besides that one, and here's another one that's finally started to perk up again. Check that out. This is what it looks like when it starts to get happy. Those leaves, instead of falling down, will come up. Still checking on this Deanna fig, and you see there's some brown spots there. I don't know if that's a bad sign or not, but it is getting lighter in color, kind of like white. It might be slightly pliable. I don't know when exactly it would be ready. Is it ready now? Will it be ready tomorrow? I'm not sure, because I've never grown these before. Now let's look at Mr. Twisty here. This is that twisted and gnarled like a Puntia cactus. I know they bloom, and from what I'm told, they produce green fruits that never like change color. I don't know the quality of them. Are they sour? Are they bland? Are they sweet? Nothing about them, but what I do know is all Puntia cactus produce unedible fruit. Whether they taste good or not, who really knows? But most people root them with the pads flat. Sometimes, nurseries will cut them into 3 or 4 sections. They'll put like ash on the where they cut the cut line, and it's supposed to like sort of maybe dry it out and callus it over maybe faster, or just prevent it from rotting. But she rooted hers upright, so I rooted the second piece upright, and we're going to take this lobe off soon, and we'll probably try to callus that and root it as well to offer to the community. Puntia cactuses, or Puntia, whatever, however you pronounce them. There are some that can take wet. There are some that can take high humidity. There's some that absolutely despise having wet feet. More sand, higher ground, may be the key to success with some of them that are from like California, Arizona, and stuff like that. So I think it's important to have like a backup, instead of just putting your single plant in the ground. If you have the material to propagate, you know, a new little cactus pad. Put that cactus pad in another pot. Have 2 at least, maybe 3 or more. Put one in the ground when you feel like it's a good time or safe place to put it. And have that backup that is surviving, even if your one you put in the ground does not. So let's look at our duo elderberries, our everbearing ones. There's a little bit of a new growth there. There's some new growth on both sides there that are going to form into leaves. This guy, maybe not this yet. Guy here's got a lot of new growth, and that guy, no, none. It's so possible we'll have one root and the other not in some cases, or many cases, and that's why we tied the plastic around the first one so that we can identify which one rooted and which one didn't, and we can replace that cutting, you know, and know that we have 2 genetically different ones for pollination purposes. Check this out. This is another Phalaenopsis, and it looks like it's fixing to shoot a new leaf out there. Possibly here in this bud as well. So that would probably make 3, maybe more. Experience with these is these flower stalks usually die like these guys here. But, you know, there are buds that could potentially create new plants, just like this guy here that has a leaf. And there's a frog hanging out in that I guess this is an oncidium orchid, a low light orchid. So this is what the star fruit looks like so far. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are coming up. I suspect probably another 6 or more. Possibly all the seeds will come up. This is our dying orange tree. I don't know what's killing it off. If it's just the rootstock or the top has just gotten old and it's not doing well. And here's some of these stinging caterpillars on it. Look at that. Saddlebacks or whatever you call them. Got to make sure not to get stung by those guys. But we're going to try to get any possibly usable piece to graft onto some Sambokans or something. And we're going to do, like I said, we're going to wrap the scion wood this time. And now the kids are freaking out because I'm 100 feet away from them. As I was trying to clip the leaves, I did not see that guy, and he just got me right here. So we'll see if that gets much worse. It's starting to burn a little bit. I did not see that at all. I've never seen this many saddlebacks at one place. So there's number 4. So we wrap the scion wood, and we're gonna see if we can match this to one of these guys. So we're matching the cambium layers pretty close on this side, maybe not 100% on this other side, but you only have to have it match on one. It's ideal to have it on both. So as you can see, we got it kind of sealed and wrapped, and we did it pretty tight here where the cleft graft went in. And we're going to try it this way. And we got another one here. And I don't think that right there is good enough to graft on. So we may only do 2, or we got maybe 2 good pieces there for something else. Might have to go get another seedling from somewhere. There is not a perfect cambium layer on this scion wood here. There's only one usable, and it's not in perfect condition. So I don't expect this to take, but I'm going to wrap it anyway. There it is. Because according to Tom Petty, from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, even the losers get lucky sometimes. We'll see if we get lucky. We had this one here. I think this is also a Sambokan that had a failed graft last year, as you can see, and it grew a bunch of new stuff there. But we do not have any of the oranges that are healthy, that are like that thick or anywhere near that thick. Because, you know, it's putting out little pieces, 4, 6, 8, 10 inches, and nothing is getting this big and staying healthy on that tree. But we got a nice chunk of the red grapefruit seedling that we love so much, and we really would like to propagate this guy as well. And this is an experiment. We don't know what kind of successes we'll have. Had 100% failures with the Meyer lemon, the red grapefruit, and orange last year, but we did not wrap the scion wood to keep it from drying out, so Maybe this is the trick. Cut the top off and somewhat match it with this, and no, I'm not going to just graft this big giant piece on there. I'll just get a nice, 4, 5, 6 inch piece and use the other top pieces maybe to try to graft onto some more seedlings. And there we go, another scion wrapped. So on this side, there's kind of a cambium layer mismatch. On the opposite side, there is, I might need to just pull this guy up, the scion wood up, because it's got a little air hole there. I am still not happy with the way this is matching or mismatching, but we're gonna try to do a super tight tie around it and hope that it kind of pulls the cambium layers together. I've cut the scion wood 3 or 4 times to try to match it, but maybe I just messed it up without starting a whole new piece. Another one down, so we'll see. I think that was not a perfect one at all, but yeah. Let's just hope this method will help preserve the scion wood and the cut piece into the rootstock, and keep it moist and alive until it can maybe callus over, and hopefully it will produce a good graft, but I don't know. We got plenty more material here, if we have to cut it lower and lower to graft next year if it doesn't work. Plot here, it looks like I got probably 2 more usable ones, possibly 3, but I'm not going to attempt to do one on such a small piece of wood, and then 2 to 3 ones that need to have some more girth, and they need to harden off and get some of that brown trunk there versus just all green material. But we'll do 2 more and see what we got left over, or see if we need to go pull some seedlings from somewhere. To attempt to do this crooked one, because there's more hardened off material right here at this curve. Can't promise I can do that, but I'm gonna try. Again, not a perfect cut, because there's a bud right there that I couldn't really cut, slim down without it just messing up everything. So we're a little bit higher than I'd want to be. We're gonna try it anyway and see what happens. All right, so there's another one, and we've wrapped another piece of scion wood. The sun is going right in the screen, so I can't see if I've got it aimed right or not, but all right, we're gonna do one on this piece. I'm having a time getting them right. They're not perfect, so we might be getting 0 success, but so I pulled up 2 more sambucan seedlings. What's kind of strange is the blood orange and the red navel, there doesn't ever seem to be any seedlings growing under them. But this sambucan, they grow like crazy. If you got trifoliate orange, they grow like crazy. The other orange tree that we're trying to save, they used to grow like crazy underneath the tree. Even this big marsh white, there's never any grapefruits growing, even though you see the actual fruit that's rotted. And a lot of fruit has fallen over the years from this tree. Nothing but some dewberries or blackberries. Nothing under this citramella. I wouldn't be surprised if I really looked and found a random seedling, but I don't see any. But when you put those, collect the seeds from grapefruits and put them in a pot, and they seem to sprout pretty well. So I'm not sure if it's something to do with maybe when they're encapsulated with the fruit and the peel and stuff, there's something keeping them from sprouting or not. So tree 1, we cut it kind of at the same size as our scion wood. Another wrap piece, and voila. They're kind of so much easier when they're like this, because you can spin the whole plant around and kind of get it ready. There we go. There's the last one we're going to try. I feel like I made a lot of mistakes, and my blades may not be as sharp as they need to. I did change the blade in the last minute, and it worked a little bit better maybe. Now we need to put these in the pot. I dipped these guys in rainwater and duckweed, and we're going to put them in the shade. I've only got 1 pot tagged, so I'm going to keep these separate from the other oranges. We're just kind of farting around with the citrus grafting thing. This isn't something that's going to be offered to anybody. I'm just experimenting, trying to hone in my grafting skills, and obviously I still got a lot of work to do, but maybe this method of covering the scion wood will make, even when you make mistakes, make your success rate a little bit better. Now, I have tried grafting multiple times, probably 50 times or more, citrus, and I only had 1 success, so it was just with the cleft graft, just a random one took. And I don't know why it took versus, 40 other ones not taking. I think that soon the Department of Agriculture will probably loosen its grip on citrus propagation, and all the regulations, because citrus greening is already everywhere pretty much. There's nothing you can do. It's not a viable option right now to become a commercial orchard, orange orchard, grapefruit or whatever in Florida. It doesn't matter if you can go into this multi-million-dollar sterile greenhouse, where they're keeping everything, like a laboratory, 100% disease free, when as soon as you take it to a garden center, nursery or whatever, or plant it outdoors, in the ground, they're exposed to citrus greening, pretty much almost immediately. I think the Department of Agriculture needs to hurry up and do this, because this is going to make more people breed and put seeds out in the ground, distribute seeds and seedlings all over the place, and putting them out there where there's a massive amount of citrus greening will hopefully produce either a rootstock or an actual fruit that has more tolerance or resistance or immunity to this disease. Just saying sugar bale and was it finger lime or something like that, and maybe one or two cultivars or types of citrus has resistance or tolerance to it, that doesn't satisfy the grapefruit or the pomelo community. It doesn't satisfy a lot of other things, lemons, other limes that may be more cold tolerant. We would hate to start from scratch and get like citrus that has to be grown in like Orlando or South Florida. Let people experiment in North Florida, North Central Florida, everywhere, to try to find something resistant to citrus green. I was watching, I don't know if it was YouTube or something on TV the other day, that said somebody harvested so few of their citruses, oranges and stuff, it cost him more to harvest than he could sell. So he took out all of his citrus trees, or a whole bunch, and he started the process of putting avocado trees in his Orlando or wherever it was, somewhere in Central Florida, I believe. And this is where you're probably going to see a lot of Mexican type avocados being put in citrus areas, maybe Ocala, Citra, and a variety of like Hawthorne and stuff like that, Gainesville. And they're going to be pushing the boundaries on those Mexican type avocados, and it's potentially a viable crop to replace citrus orchards that have failed due to citrus greening. Although financially that's potentially a short-term good thing or mid-term good thing, long-term I think we still need citrus, in our farmers markets. We need citrus, in the jug, the juices, and we need fresh fruit at the grocery store. Well, it'll almost assuredly be the season 3 of the garden vlog before we see results of these, and you may or may not see results or a small amount on the loquat grafts yet. We might just have to do a reveal, somewhere in the beginning of season 3 of the garden vlog. Before we end this garden vlog for today, I think I'm going to actually get some morus rubra red mulberry cuttings and try to stick some in a pot. I forgot all about those guys, especially since probably the most sought after is going to be improved cultivars. And I think morus rubra is a lot harder to propagate through cuttings, but if we get 5, 10, 20 pieces we can stick in a pot. We can at least before we do that, I want to take some cuttings from this, I think, everbearing, dwarf everbearing mulberry seedlings here that are potentially crossed with the Himalayan male we have. And I'm not just going to rip it out from the roots. We're going to tag it so that we know 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 in the future or whatever, which one's which, and maybe just try to get some cuttings off of it, tag them with the appropriate number, and see what happens. This one really didn't have a whole lot of plant material to get, but we'll try to make like 2 or 3 maybe out of that. As I said, we did not have much to work with, so we got 3 little tiny ones. And if that doesn't work, we'll wait and get bigger material maybe next year. So that doesn't look like much either by the time you strip the leaves. Got 4 little ones there and 3 over there. So seedling 1, seedling 2. Back here at this mature morus rubra, I have all kinds of stuff growing over this guy. Dewberries, muscadines going out of control. But I do see a stick there I can grab and maybe get some cuttings from it. So we got 1 piece here. We got ate up with mosquitoes. Jonathan's eating the whole box of cereal. See, this is why I can't focus, like just put my attention 100% on doing a lot of this stuff at like one time. Just come out for 2 hours and work. Sometimes it's for 2 minutes, sometimes it's 30 seconds, sometimes it's 30 minutes. But
50 seconds.
This is the red mulberry, and like I said, it's kind of hard to just get cuttings, I think, going, but we're gonna try. All right, so there's our morus rubra, or red mulberry. Then the 2 seedlings here, we're gonna just give it a mist or a little bit of a light. Maybe we'll put some rainwater in there. I don't know if that's gonna make it happy at this point in time or not. All right, so all these guys here are back in the shady area. Just give everything a nice little watering here. So as far as mulberries are concerned, we've got cuttings of Illinois everbearing. We got the Himalayan male. We have the white. We have the red, dwarf everbearing black, and the 2 genetically different dwarf everbearing seedlings that we just got cuttings from. None of the 2015 best elderberries have shown any sign of life yet. Oh yeah, and I got a Chiang Mai 60. Did I do just one of them? I can't remember. That's a tiny one. We obviously have a patch or 2 where the genetics are they definitely have red or morus rubra mulberry in them that are producing fruit for the first year, earlier this year. But you really have to supposedly take 2 to 3 years to see what the fruit quantity, quality, size, and everything is going to be. So I haven't taken any cuttings out of these guys here yet. I'm just waiting and seeing what they look like. Personally, I think the leaf shapes look closer to morus alba, but randomly they'll have that kind of, let me see if I can find a small one, that kind of morus rubra leaf shape. That's kind of an example there, a good example right there. So I would say, the reds have a lot of that, I guess you would call that lobing or lobes, and it can go back and forth between kind of like a white mulberry shape where you don't have a lot of variability, I guess, in the leaves. But I wonder if you have a lot of both, if that's an indicator of something hybridizing. I'm not really like a mulberry expert, but I do know that there are some white varieties, morus alba, that don't turn white or brown. Their fruits are more like ruby red color, and they're not all just syrupy sweet or insipid. Some of them have some tartness. Some of the seedlings here have some pretty massive leaves here. Check this out. Let's pull one, or we can compare that other leaf to this one. But let's go to the white mulberry that we know is white and just compare it to the size. Couldn't really get to the largest leaves of the morus alba, but got to like some of the largest of the morus nigra here, the black mulberry. Check that out. From what I can tell, even though there might have been a little bit larger than this in the alba trees, I didn't see any as large as this. Is that an indicator of genetics, or maybe sun? Shade, I should say, because these are grown in the shade. But we have a lot of seedlings grown in the shade that have leaves that are smaller than this. For reference, I'm going to show you a dwarf everbearing black leaf. So dwarf everbearing black, and whatever this is. Could it be part of the Himalayan, causing these large leaves? Okay, I was finally able to secure one of the largest morus alba leaves, and check this out. Woo! And this is a seedling. I wonder.
See ya! Ta-da!
So the nigra, alba. Of course, I lost that dwarf everbearing, but yep. So the nigra is a little bit smaller than the alba leaves, the largest ones. Now a lot of these are smaller on the tree. Some of them are higher up, like this guy here was. But look at that. So just for the heck of it, we put this Himalayan male here. Himalayan male, morus nigra, morus alba, whatever that is.